Yeah. So welcome Anjali once more from Talk to Big Ears. And she's been like an angel. Every time she comes up, she lights up the whole atmosphere. So I feel like her smiling face is always like inspiring. Today she'll be speaking about Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So a very favorite bird from this book. And this whole story is about, maybe it looks like it's about the bird, but it all we will see that how we soar with the seagull. So
Yeah.
Anjali, over to you and welcome. She is the founder of Talk to Big Ears, which is a listening service. And welcome Anjali.
Thank you, Anuradha, once again. Thank you, Rajshi ji, for joining, Madhulan ji for joining. Thank you very much, all of you. So, I'm again going to attempt to talk to you about this book, which had moved me and has given me lots to think about and has given me so many uh, class points that I wanted to share with everyone. Hence, we are here. So, we are going to talk about this book, which is called Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It has been written by Mr. Richard Bach, and it is about this seagull, like Anuradha just mentioned. And this seagull is now the book is divided into three parts. Part one is where this bird called Jonathan is trying to aim to perfection. Part two is when he moves to another realm and how he learns from there as well. And part three is when he comes back and he tries to use all his learnings to help others learn also. So it is basically divided into these three parts. Now, like always, I'm going to first talk about the book really and what it wants to tell us on the surface. And then I will try and look at the lessons below the surface and what I understood from it. So then, when we understand from a book, it could be different from what somebody else understands. So after I am through with my session, I would request each one of you, if you have any inputs or any thoughts that you would like to add to it, or experiences also for that matter. Okay, so in the first part of the book, there is this lovely bird. His name is Jonathan, and he is quite a independent bird and wants to perfect his flying technique. He wants to fly further, wants to fly harder, wants to fly faster, and higher, and just wants to perfect his landing, his soaring, his dipping, and all of that. Now, it is very beautifully quoted in the book that how this little bird who wants to perfect and who wants to practice day in, day out, there is the society, the other seagulls, his parents, everybody is around there who are trying to discourage the seagull. They keep discouraging him and telling him that you're wasting your time, you are not looking at going out and getting yourself some food to eat, because we seagulls fly for food, and that's the reason why we fly. We don't understand why you're wasting so much time and you're not looking after yourself and you're running after this dream of perfecting your flight and all of that. So the seagull does not want to listen to the big daddy, does not want to listen to the big mummy, does not want to listen to the society. He just wants to perfect his style, he wants to perfect his speed, and he keeps practicing. Now, one day, he really soars high and he's enjoying the flight. Then he reaches different ponds and different lakes and gets fresh fish. And he says that those other seagulls are they think so small because they are limiting themselves to that small little area, and they take flight only to find food. But here I am, I've taken the risks and I've been able to find fresh fish. I've been able to find fresh feed. But all those other seagulls, they are just hovering around the same boats and they are hovering around for dead fish. So that's no fun. And then when he comes back to his flock, he thinks that everybody is going to praise him and is going to say that, wow, wonderful, Jonathan, you've been able to reach such wonderful ponds and you're doing so well for yourself and you are flying high. But to his astonishment, he is ridiculed. He is ridiculed by the boss of the flock. He is ridiculed by his own friends, and nobody wants to hear his success stories. They all feel that he's wasted his time. He gets a little dejected, and he says, "Okay, I will then listen to you, and I will not do what I want to do. I'll just listen to the society and my parents." Then, for a couple of days, he keeps flying with the other seagulls and keeps looking out for those dead fish. But surprisingly, he does not enjoy it at all. And then he says, "No, this is not what I want for myself. I'm killing myself like this." So he takes off once again without listening to anybody. Now he wants to listen to his own heart, and he again takes soars and again starts practicing and does start doing so well for himself, and he's so happy about it. Then suddenly one day when he reaches 400, 500 feet in flight, he suddenly sees these two beautiful bright seagulls flying next to him, and it surprises him, and they follow his flight. If he takes a somersault, they also take a somersault. He soars up vertically, they also soar up vertical. And then he gets very impressed because he's not seen too many seagulls do what he's doing. So he gets very impressed with these two and asks them that, "Who are you?" So those seagulls say that, "We are your brothers, and we are here to take you back home." So this is part one of the book. And as they say that we are here to take you back home, now what is home? There is just one home that we all know, and since we are all linked here, so I'm sure that you all identify with that one home, which is heaven. So in part two, Jonathan reaches heaven, and Jonathan meets lot of birds, lot of seagulls like him, and he feels that he is the same person in the inside, but the outer is different. And the memory of his time spent on earth starts fading. So these are a couple of things that make us realize that he's actually in heaven. And the communication that these people do amongst themselves is not with any language or any sound. They do telepathy. So this again, we've read about that you communicate, the souls communicate through telepathy. So Jonathan is communicating with other seagulls with his telepathy, and there he finds a friend by the name of Chang, and he finds Sullivan, and he finds the old gull. Now this old gull is that big instructor and the teacher. Now this teacher is going to teach Jonathan all that he wants to learn. And very wonderful pearls of wisdom are given to him during these instructions through the seagull. And the old gull teaches Jonathan everything there is to learn about flight. Now, the reason why I'm not going to be talking about it is that I'll quickly go through what the book says, and then I'm going to bring out the 10 points which have stood out, and then we'll discuss it. So now the old gull is that little guardian angel that all of us have. And that guardian angel is teaching Jonathan, is hand holding Jonathan, and is, everything that he has to, he knows he's trying to teach our little seagull. Now, after he's learned the flight, after he's learned the technique, they talk about love. And the old gull starts telling Jonathan that there are only these two things which are the biggest. One is kindness, and the other is love. This is what we have to teach everybody. And it is very, very difficult for people to understand. People here mean seagull in the book, but of course, it is also about us. It is very difficult for people to see the good in themselves. It is very difficult for people to understand love and kindness for themselves. So this is something that everybody's been talking about these days, about self-love and etc., etc. We'll come to that later. So now, once our man, Mr. Jonathan, has learned all of this, he feels that he also needs to be an instructor, and he wants to run back to earth to share his knowledge with as many people as he can. People here again is seagull. So he decides and he comes right down. And once he comes right down, he finds himself in the midst of a flock of seagulls. And but there is one seagull who is a path breaker, who is a rebel, and he sees that seagull somewhere around and wants to teach that little seagull. Now, that is the student that he finds, that one student, and he sees himself in that seagull because he also was all alone away from the flock, trying to learn new techniques of flying and trying to do different things and was being pulled back. But now this seagull is also an outcast, and who comes to the rescue is Jonathan. Now, when he gets this one outcast seagull, he starts teaching him all that he knew, everything that he knew. So, when he's teaching him, there are a few others also who want to join the group and they also want to learn. They leave the big flock and they come and join this group. Now, when Jonathan is taking lessons, everybody starts criticizing him and all the other birds. That what is it that they are trying to do? This is not the way a seagull is supposed to live. You take flight only for food, and that is it. And that's the reason why we are here. So, but they do not pay any heed. He continues teaching. The students continue learning, and they become better and better and better. And as they keep getting better, all these other seagulls start seeing the improvement, start seeing all the change, and they also want to be a part of it. So you don't have to go out and talk to people about your goodness. You don't have to go out and talk about your achievements. Everybody can see those achievements. And then gradually everybody gets attracted to you. So the 3 points on the surface over here are that you need to know what you really want in life and work towards it. Don't get deviated, don't get discouraged, don't let anybody come in your path of success. You just go towards perfection, and that is all that is necessary. And the other point is that you need to be true to yourself. Once you are true to yourself, and that's the only person you need to actually satisfy and impress. Nobody else needs your you know any lessons from you. Nobody needs anything. Nobody is waiting for your consent. Nobody is waiting for a approval. You are the only one who is required to give yourself all of that, because like Oprah Winfrey, she uses this term very often, to be the best version of yourself. Each one of us has to work towards perfection and be the best versions of ourselves. And the third point, of course, is to teach with humility. Humility is the biggest teacher. That is what I believe. If you are humble and whatever you know, you are ready to share it with others, it is going to grow many-fold. It is going to benefit not just the person who's learning, but also you yourself. So these are the 3 points that I got on the surface. And now I'm going to talk to you about 10 points. 10 points from this book, which have been much below that surface, which I could identify. And I'm sure any of you who read this book would be able to take out much more. But these are the 10 points that stood out, and I'm going to share those 10 points with you. Starting with one. So they say that boredom, fear, and anger. Boredom, fear, and anger are the reasons that life is short and dull. So boredom is also within our reach. We can change boredom. Fear is also within our reach, that we can change that attitude of fear. And anger also is something that we can control. So these 3 points actually make our lives shorter and duller. But surprisingly, you saw that all these three are within our reach and we can change them. So, wow, awesome. So, this was one big revelation for me. Then the next point they said was that the most important thing is to reach perfection. We don't have to go out for just achieving our day-to-day things, but we need to run towards perfection. They say any bird who flies for travel is never going to reach perfection. But a bird who flies for perfection will reach wherever it needs to go. So it's not just about the travel. And they say flying is not just about going and catching food. Flying is something that has been given to them from where they can reach perfection. Mosquitoes can also fly. But what is the difference between a seagull and a mosquito? Like we say, animals also live, they also breathe, they eat, they reproduce. What is the difference between an animal and a man? So we have that little sense that we need to work towards perfection. Yeah. And there are people who need to go through thousands of lifetimes to understand perfection, to understand the real meaning of life. Now, Jonathan was someone who understood this and was immediately taken away into the heaven and taught more. Now, they say that this earth is actually an earth school, and all the experiences that we have are meant to teach us something. And our whole purpose is to learn from that and keep working towards our perfection. So the more we learn on this plane will benefit us for the next plane. And then in the next plane also we need to learn. The old gull, the old gull is that guardian angel that each one of us has waiting for us over there. All of us are going to meet our guardian angel who is going to teach us all that there is to learn if we are open and willing and ready to learn. But if we do not learn in this plane, we come back to the same situations, we come back to the same people, we come back to the same learnings. So we haven't improved on our evolution of growth. We come back to zero. Then again we have to start. And if we haven't learned again, then again we come to zero. During this lifetime, we need to reach a certain level, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Then we die. Then we learn from there. And then we come back either to 70 or maybe a 90. But if we haven't learned here, we go to the next stream. We have to start from zero. We learn. If we still haven't learned, then again we come back to a zero, and then it takes thousands of lifetimes for us to keep learning, and we keep getting this opportunity and we keep throwing it away. So this life that we have today is so precious. This is so precious. This is our time to reach from zero to hero. We all have to get there to hero. And then from hero, that protagonist in our life, then when we go to that next realm, we are going to learn even more. And then we feel that, look, now I know so much. I need to go down and teach all those people who are like me all that I know and I've learned with love and kindness. Yeah. So then our next, of course, is perfection. Perfection does not have a limit. Now, this was very interesting. They say that Jonathan keeps trying to go higher and higher. He reaches 50 feet, 100 feet, 150 feet, 200 feet. But it is always a number. Now, a 200 feet is always a 200 feet. It cannot be a 400 feet. So when you put that tag on it, then it is not perfect. Perfection is something that is limitless. Perfection is something that is much bigger than us. Perfection is something that it doesn't have any boundaries. It doesn't have any boundaries. We just merge with that moment where we are perfect. Oh wow, that's so beautiful. We merge with the moment which is perfect. That is where we will get our perfection. Beautiful. Wow. And now this another very interesting thing is uh, to fly as fast as thought to anywhere that is. I repeat myself. To fly as fast as thought to anywhere that is, you must begin by knowing that you have already arrived. Now, this is something that so many books have spoken of, so many people are talking about, that manifestation. Manifestation. This is the lesson that Jonathan had learnt in heaven by the old gull. And what did that gull teach him? That how to go from place A to place B, like this. And Jonathan thought that he needs to flap his wings and take a good flight and improve his speed and to reach from A to B. But that's not how it is. It is all here. It is all here. Everything starts over here. So if I know that I want to go from A to B and I manifest the whole thing and I say that, okay, now I am in place B. The minute I start thinking, the reality starts forming. So this is a very, very big, important lesson for each one of us. Again, so many people are talking about it, manifestation. So many people are talking about law of attraction. And this is where it all began. Not in the real terms, but I think this was he was one of the first writers who wrote about this. These days everybody is writing about it and talking about it. And then kindness and love. Now when he was up there, uh, they spoke about kindness and love. When you've learned everything, what is left to learn, what is more important, what is it that we can teach people? Because it is not just important for you to learn, then we are being selfish. If we've had an experience in life and we can't help people learn from that experience, I think that learning is the waste. Either you write a book, or you talk to somebody, or you teach your children, or you teach the society. You just have to share your knowledge. That's how it will grow. Because when you talk to five people about what you've learned, they will have five different perspectives and they'll add to that knowledge. When they add to that knowledge, it becomes even bigger. Then when somebody shares that knowledge, then people keep adding it, and then it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so many more people start learning and learning and learning and learning and take it further. You just keep taking it further. Now, how many people have read the Gita? How many people have read the Mahabharata? They've all found their meaning. They've all found their learnings from it. And from there, that spiral effect started. Now, see the kind of perspectives there are. See what Mr. Patnaik is doing. Devdutt Patnaik, he has taken it to another level. If any of you have read the Meluha, I mean, see what they've done to Shiva. See the characterizations. And all of this starts with that one person's understanding of a character of a situation in life. And it just creates a self which is bigger than we can even see and imagine. Because they say, na, many are better than one. Anything that you want to do, if you do with more people, like-minded people, you cannot even imagine the kind of shape it's going to take. It becomes bigger, better, and much more beautiful and powerful. So when you have to give something, when you love somebody, you need to give something of truth. When you give truth to somebody, that is teaching them with love and kindness. And a very important thing is that this old gull taught Jonathan was that you are not bone and feather. You are not bone and feather, but freedom and flight, limited by nothing. Now, if we take that into our lives, we are not flesh and bones. We are not flesh and bones. We are also freedom on flight. Freedom, we are. Flight, we can take. So each one of us also is not just flesh and bones. I thought this was beautiful. This was really awesome. And we are limited by nothing. Like I said, perfection is that zone where you become perfect. And then there is no limiting you. Infinity also does not have that end point. It keeps going. It's that eight. It just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. So then again, this very point, that law, the only true law is that which leads to freedom. Whatever we may learn in this life, whatever we may experience in this life, what is true, what is true, what is that one law? That one law is that we are all here to learn, and the only important thing is that we are all free, and the another important thing is that we are only working towards going back home. So we just have to keep learning, and we need to keep learning and preparing ourselves towards perfection so that we can go back home. Yeah, we're all going back home. And we just have to make this experience of life and living into such a joyous thing, because we feel that we can control everything. Nonsense. We were sent here only to learn, to experience, to live, to have fun, to enjoy all the experiences. Because remember, we are divine beings who are here for a human experience. We are here for an experience it. And we are all free. We are not bound by this body. We can think and we can reach everywhere, anywhere. The other day I was seeing this little video in which they say that if you take control over your the number of breaths in a minute, there comes a stage when you start feeling what the non-living things are also feeling. You become one with them. So our first level is to become one with all the living things. Then the next is that we become one with all the non-living things. Can you imagine the level of freedom we have? But we are restricting ourselves. We don't know that we are free. And that's when he says the hardest thing to make the seagulls believe is that they are free. This is the toughest thing. And don't you think for you and me, this is the toughest thing to believe that we are free? Because we feel we are always being bound down by our routines. We are always being bound down by our responsibilities. But do you think so? Supposing we need to die one of these days. Who's going to wait for us? You think the maid is going to wait? Or our children are going to wait? Nobody's going to wait. And boom, we go. And another 5-6 days, everything is back to where it was. Everybody does what they have to do. So what is it that we are controlling? Like that lizard on the ceiling. Okay, those two lizards are sitting on that ceiling, and they feel that they are actually holding the ceiling. The whole life they are sitting over there, they feel they're holding the ceiling. Nonsense. They're free to run. They're free to go wherever they like. This is all here. This is all here. We don't need to get into that. We are all free. And also what is very, very important is that we need to see the good in everyone. But before we do that, we need to see the good in ourselves. This also we don't do. This also we forget to do. We are so busy in doing good. We are so busy in doing things for people. We are seeing good things about people. But, Arey bhai, what about you? Remember, you were the protagonist in the story. You are the one who's important. If you're not there, there is no story. Who's going to write your book if you're not there? Who's going to write that autobiography or that biography if you haven't lived? Where is the story? You are the story. You have to create your story. You're free to create the story. And you have to love yourself for it. And you have to share that love. You have to see the goodness, the kindness, the light in everybody. And yes, this is also a very important point. Don't believe what your eyes see. Don't believe what your eyes see. They show limitation. Eyes will only show you what is there outside. They will never show you what is there inside. To see inside, you need to use the eyes also, which are inside. These external eyes are going to show you only what there is externally. But your internal eyes, your intuition is going to show you what is there inside the other person. Like in Buddhism, they always say, when they bow down to each other when they meet, and they say, the highest in you bows down to the highest in you. So, I mean, who is the person who's tallest is the highest? But our eyes are going to show us who the tallest is or who the shortest is. But the intuition is going to tell us that there is something much bigger in this person who's standing across, much bigger inside, which is not being limited to that physical body. So our inner eyes are going to see that inner self of that other person. So we have to look with understanding and find out what we already know, and you will see the way to fly without limits. I'm going to repeat this because this is beautiful. Look with your understanding. That means all of us actually know all of this. Find out what you already know. We all have this sense inside us. It depends on us whether we give it enough light and whether we give it enough manure, water, sunlight. Remember, we did this in class 4. All those little things that are needed for the seed to grow into a big tree. Sunlight, water, manure. We need to give all of that to ourselves also, to our understanding also. So we have to look with our understanding, find out what we already know, and you'll see the way to fly without limits. We all are free. We all are free to soar. We all are free to understand and reach our perfection. Once we reach our perfection, then we are doing justice to ourselves. Otherwise, we'll have to come back and work ourselves up. There were two little Siddharjis who were talking once, okay? They were in class 8. And one Siddharji says that, I'm just so fed up of studying and I don't want to study anymore. I feel like dying. So this other friend of his says, that's actually a good idea. But if you think of it, if you die, you'll have to start all over again from class KG and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So wherever we are today is the place for us to be. Whatever we are listening to is what we were meant to listen. And where we have to go also is destined. But it is up to us how to make this present moment joyful, how to make this learning process wonderful for ourselves. Because another very interesting line here, again, I really like this, that when you overcome space, whatever is left is here. Now, if we try and understand this, if wherever I'm standing, I'm taking about a foot of place to stand, okay? For me, that is the reality. Whatever it is around me is waste, because I'm standing right here and this is all that I need. Because when we die, we are only just going to need that much of space, right? We are all going to become whatever. So when you overcome space, whatever is left is here. And when you overcome time, whatever is left is now. I thought this was really beautiful. So here and now is what we have, and here and now is where we live, and here and now is what we need to work on to perfect ourselves, so that our future and our next levels are going to improve and we are going to reach higher and we are going to glow. And like I just learned in this book, that birds don't die, they merge into the light. So I thought that was a beautiful thing. And thank you very much for all your patience. And thank you, Anu. I know you're a little sleepy, but I found this really interesting and I wanted to share with everybody. Thank you, Rajshi ji, Madhulin ji, Annapurna ji, Anaga ji, Rita ji.
Rupali, Manju, Binita.
Rupali ji, thank you, Benita ji. Thank you so much. And I'm open to all your thoughts, all your opinions on whatever I've said and your perspectives, please, if we have the time.
Yeah,
Please.
we have a lot
Thank
of
you.
them. Rajshri ma'am.
थैंक यू मैम. मैम परफेक्शन का मतलब हुआ फ्रीडम एंड लिमिटलेस द थॉट. हेलो.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
मुझे जैसे परफेक्शन का जो मतलब समझ में आया कि लिमिटलेस थॉट एंड फ्रीडम, इट इज द परफेक्शन.
So perfection is what we try to reach the best version of ourselves.
ओके.
To reach that best version of ourselves, we have to understand that fear, anger, boredom has no place. And yes, to understand that we are limitless. We are limitless and we can do whatever we set our minds to do. We have to find the real purpose of our life. Our purpose of our life is perfection. Perfection is to become a better version of yourself.
नाउ इट इज क्लियर. थैंक यू.
मैम वो आई थिंक द पॉइंट आप जो बोल रहे हैं कि वो बोल रहे थे कि boredom, fear and anger are the reason for life to be short and dull, and our life, we live for perfection, और perfection के बहुत सारे points आए, तो तब उसमें कुछ रह गया होगा या वो इधर उधर मिस हो गया होगा, तो ये है. Baki, there were other people also. Dilip sir joined. Everybody, one or two people joined, and I hope everybody is listening because many people can hear and can watch. So, कुछ messages भी आ रहे थे कि नहीं कर पा रहे. बाकी, first of all, I work from my side, Anjali. When you come, it's like an high voltage energy. And what I was listening, that how to present the idea with so much of, like putting all our energy into it. That's why it's, yeah, I was sleepy, I was yawning, yes. But that energy, and then you put everything into it while explaining, yes, we have to live, we have to be perfect. And, so it's like it was just, I have no words, appropriate words, sorry, to share ki how this story has affected me, of course, ki here and now. But so the way that the words that you used are, see, if we perfect the space, then this is then where I'll get, or we perfect this time, then the time will become limitless, or we will become limitless if we perfect this much space that we are in. So those are new perspectives, new ways of getting to that concept. So each book gives us like a different dimension or different ways to get at the same thing. वो बोलते हैं ना, if in Patri ji's things कि हम सिर्फ शरीर नहीं है, हम आत्मा है. Like atma meaning like we are expanded, and sharir meaning this much, 1 feet by like 5 whatever. बट वो हम इतना सुन के हमारे दिमाग में वो ऐसा हो गया है कि वो फ्रेज बन गया है, लाइक हम शरीर है, मतलब शरीर ही नहीं आत्मा है. पर आपने जिस तरह द वे यू एक्सप्लेन्ड इट, देन इट बिकेम मोर लाइक ओ या, सो कैन विजुअलाइज इट. So, and there were, of course, for perfection, live for the things that you want to do, and not what is, the seagulls. The best thing was that though everybody, 99 people were doing just that, eat, sleep, repeat, eat, sleep, repeat. So, in our ways, even that eating, sleeping isn't like it's a struggle to get even that. But to think beyond it was the seagull's way to get to perfection. Then, of course, he got two teachers, to those birds. They came as his teachers. And then he came and then he supported others. And at that point, that when we shared, Sajjan Sangit, this is what we are doing. So you understood 2 points and you made it like so that we understand it. And then it creates that ripple effect. Annapurna ji last time बोल रहे थे, ripple effect होता है. एक तो हमारी frequency में कुछ change आता है, and then it creates that ripple effect, the one when we share it. That seagull taught the another seagull. So yeah, so all make sense, but from a different perspective when it comes, so then it sheds more light to whatever phrases we have been listening to every time, every day. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And everybody, yes, thanks for joining. Ji Rita.
Yeah. First of all, Anjali, you make the session so live. I mean, no one can sleep. No one can just get distracted. Since you're so lovely, you express in such a way. I mean, you have so good expressions. You are full of life, and you create life in others also. And the most important thing I like this definition of perfection. Means you just try, you made it, try to reach higher and higher, but it doesn't have any boundary. You just have to merge with the moment. This is something really very good. You have to just merge with the moment. I really liked it. Or कहने को तो there are so many things you explain such beautifully, so beautifully ना. I like the way you express. मैं तो आपके फेस देखती रह जाती हूँ, आपके एक्सप्रेशन देखती हूँ. How you just manage to get the things from the story or the book. मतलब इतने अच्छे से आप explain करते हो कि there are no words to express myself. Really, you are extremely good, full of life. And then the way you said, we have to reach our true home. I mean, आज तक तो लोग कहते थे कि वापस जाना है, मतलब उसी घर में जाना है, वही हमारा रियल होम है. But the way you have told, we have to reach our true home, and with such excitement at such this young age, I'm really impressed. I'm really very much impressed. Thank you so much. You are full of life, and I love you. Really, you are great.
Rita ma'am is a teacher,
Thank you.
and she
Wow.
taught for
But she's
such a
very
long time.
kind. She's
Very kind, yeah, very
very
kind.
generous and kind with her feedback. Thank you so much, ma'am. I really value this. Thank you.
I really love your expressions, the way you explain, and the way you find out the words to tell others. Means that's a big story, but how you find the real words to express it to others means बहुत अच्छा लगता है मुझे. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Love you.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you. Love you too, Rita ma'am.
Ma'am, Anjali ma'am, no words to explain. each and every sentence is to be noted in our kitchen. In our kitchen, in our bedroom. Each and every saying, you motivate us. You know, whatever small we are doing, but you motivated using this. ये तो बहाना है, स्टोरी तो बहाना है, आपको मोटिवेट करना है हमें बस. आपका एम ये था, जैसे बोला ना, we have been sent here to learn and spread it. You have been sent to motivate us. जैसे ये आपने बोला कि जो भी लर्न करते वो अपने आप लर्न करके बैठना नहीं है, शेयर करना है. ये भी बहुत बहुत ही मतलब ये होता है. नहीं तो ऐसा होता है ना, कुछ हम लर्न करते, चलो नेक्स्ट लर्न करते, नेक्स्ट लर्न करते, वो पिछले वाला हम भूलते भी जाते हैं. इफ यू स्प्रेड इट, वी कीप ऑन रिमेम्बरिंग इट ऑल्सो, प्रैक्टिसिंग इट ऑल्सो. और आपने बोला कि एक तो nobody will wait for you after your death. ये बहुत मजेदार था. नहीं तो हम ऐसे दुनिया बनाते हैं ना कि कुछ और है ही नहीं, मतलब सब हमारे साथ इतना अटैचमेंट में लीव करते कि एक्चुअल लीविंग को भूल जाते हैं. मतलब लाइफ रहता नहीं है. हाँ, इसके बाद ये करना है, इसके बाद इनके लिए करना है, इसके बाद इनके लिए करना है. लाइफ में एक के बाद हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज से जोड़ते हैं, लेकिन उसके बीच में जीवन जो होता है, असली जीवन, वो बीच में मिस कर लेते हैं. लेकिन ये आपने बोला तो बहुत ही अच्छा लगा. आपको जो अच्छा लगता है उसको आपको करना है. ऐसा नहीं है कि फियर है या दूसरे क्या बोलेंगे. ज्यादातर हम लोग अपना काम, अरे लोग क्या कहेंगे, उसमें उसके कुछ चीजें नहीं करते हैं. भले हम बहुत अच्छा करना चाहते हैं, कुछ बुक्स हम नहीं पढ़ते हैं, लोग क्या कहेंगे ऐसे करके, लेकिन एक्सप्लोर करना है खुद को, और आपने सी गुड इन योरसेल्व्स एंड सी गुड इन अदर्स, ये भी बहुत टच किया। बाकी सारे पॉइंट्स भी। थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
Thank you. Hats off to dream decoders.
थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू सो मच। और मधुलिन भी बोल रही है थैंक यू। तो जो वर्बली नहीं बोल पा रहे हैं वो चैट में भी बोल रहे हैं थैंक यू so much. Yeah, this Shalini ji joined earlier, then I think she left, but yeah. Thank you Madhulin ji, Rajshri ji, और सभी अनगा मैम, एंड मोस्टली थैंक यू रीटा जी ने तो बहुत अच्छे से फीडबैक दिया। सभी लोग थैंक यू अंजलि, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग एंड फॉर दिस एनर्जेटिक, पता नहीं, so for this great presentation. Thank you so much.
I just want to thank all of you. You know, Anu, you have created this wonderful group of such dedicated listeners and learners. Age no bar and area no bar. I am so impressed with all of you. You actually jot down and you have something to say. I think it is the best session one could have. I don't think I've ever experienced this kind of a feedback also from anywhere. पर आप सब लोग इतने experienced हैं, आप सब लोग इतने बड़े हैं, and nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you Rajshri ji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Good night. Good evening. Bye. Thank you.
थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you.